Okay, so the other day, thanks to frequent music videos and other little mashups that have been uploaded by one of my online YouTube brony friends, I discovered a new fascinating animated series called Miraculous Tales of Ladybug and Cat Noir. It's a very interesting animated series, and I'm a bit surprised and a little disappointed that this hasn't taken off on the same wide scale as something like Steven Universe. I suppose it has a few things against it, like being brand new, being on Nickelodeon, being CG animated, being set at high school, and not having things like returning characters and continuity. But it's still a very enjoyable series, even if it's not highly appreciated. I have to admit that with things on my mind like Wizards of Waverly Place, The Thundermans, and Lab Rats, I was expecting something like Ladybug and Cat Noir to be a live-action nightmare. Or with other animated shows being on like Pit on Peanut, Pig to Goat and Banana, or Breadwinners also being on, I could have also expected this to be an animated nightmare. Face it, there's not a whole lot of good shows on, and all of the best shows are the ones that are listed in the animated short by Animated James main 6 cartoons. So what it really boils down to is there's really only 6 cartoons out there watching nowadays. That being Steven Universe, Star Versus, Rick and Morty, Gravity Falls, We Bare Bears, and definitely not Teen Titans Go. More preferably something like Ninja Turtles, which is also very underrated. Hated on fans because they did changes and did in CGI. Or even the even more underappreciated Strawberry Shortcake, which is also hated because they did changes to the reboot and it's CGI. This is another CGI show, so you expected to get some of that automatic hate for not being 2D. But what we have with Ladybug and Cat Noir is a pretty good idea, and it works on the most part, despite the fact that it's set in high school and all this other blah blah blah. But what we have here that works on this show that doesn't work on something like, say, Mighty Med or Jessie, is that we have things that are actually well written and enjoyable, and situations that are fairly believable. So, what works and what doesn't work with Ladybug and Cat Noir? The first thing off the top of my head is that Ladybug is a unique idea for a superhero. Not a lot of people are naming their main protagonists after Ladybugs. And yet something about the design of the character and the name and all that sort of thing seems to work out pretty good. Cat Noir, on the other hand, looks like every other cat character, like Black Cat and Catwoman, and a whole handful of other characters who have had the cat as the influence for their crime fighting. I wasn't even sure when I first saw the character if he was going to be a hero or an anti-hero. Turns out what you have is 2 high school students, or thereabouts in high school, who have special magical little creatures that can give them superpowers. It gives them super athleticism and super resilience to taking damage when they're in fights, and all kinds of awesome skills. The origin of how they obtained their powers is something I'm not quite aware of just yet. I'm not sure if it was ever told in the series or if they just sort of threw us in here. I'm not even sure if I've seen all the episodes or just what's available on demand as of currently. But from what I'm gathering from the few episodes that I have seen, it's basically your magical girl formula, similar to that of, say, Sailor Moon, the stage popular example. The characters encounter a villain of the week, they do a transformation sequence, and they go into action, experiencing failure before experiencing success, and then banishing the villain of the week, never to be seen again. On the strengths, the writing and action and the animation quality are all good, or at least I'm able to enjoy them a lot more than I was any of the live action examples that I've stated. This is a series that right now is where Star Versus was for me when it first came out. I'm not saying it's going to be the next Star Versus. What I'm saying is it's given me a lot of action, but it hasn't given me anything to make me elevate it to the same point as something like My Little Pony or Gravity Falls. There haven't been any surprise twists or sudden dramas, character developments, or strong continuity as of yet. All of the characters who aren't the main character feel just like a character of the week, someone who will come in for an episode and then leave, and we won't get to know them beyond their one appearance. Every single character feels very one-shot. Now this could change like it did in something like Code Lyoko, where you have absolutely tons of characters, but over time you get to know some of the background characters in a little more personal way, and you start to understand them and care about them, and maybe get to see them grow a little bit. Or it could just be a continuous villain of the week kind of thing. Who are the characters? Frankly, I don't know their names exactly. We have the sort of dorky but still has friends girl character who is the secret identity of Ladybug. She has a best friend character who helps her out, and she has a secret crush on a handsome boy who is also, of course, a model. Girls' crushes always have to be models. The handsome boy that she has a crush on is the secret identity of her crime-fighting partner, who is Cat Noir. Cat Noir has a crush on our main character's superhero identity, Cat Noir, but he tends to ignore her human secret identity. While she has a crush on Cat Noir's human secret identity, she doesn't really care much for the crime-fighting partner, Cat Noir. Although they do have a certain bond and friendship, so they're not continuously at odds with each other like one would think. We have the character who fills the same place as Diamond Tiara from My Little Pony or Sissy from Code Lyoko. And this is sort of the stuck-up, snobby, rich girl who has important parents and has some pull with the rest of the community and always demands her way. And then the rest of the characters are so far basically in the background. Then we come to the villain of the series, this sort of hawk moth, evil man type character who for whatever reason, doesn't get involved in his own conflicts and prefers to send minions after people. He likes to create these minions by sending a dark, evil, black shadow moth creature down to the stool, and this little black butterfly or whatever it is comes down and it finds somebody who is feeling hurt with anger and sadness, and it takes that person and gives them superpowers. These superpowers can be used by this person to exact their revenge on whoever it is who's wronged them, as long as they in exchange give the main villain the thing that he is after. And what he's after is the devices that allow these teens to have superpowers. In a way, it's an interesting idea to take average, everyday people and give them a temporary villain motivation to target someone with the idea that their evil is going to be motivated by the fact that the person they're going after kind of deserves the punishment that they're getting, even if that punishment is a bit too on the over-the-top bad guy side. It kind of mirrors the way people in real life feel when they're being bullied by bullies at school. The heroes will then proceed to combat the villain of the week, who has some kind of power or another related to that villain's thing that ticked them off. There's been some fun creative ideas in these super villains, like the ability to draw and erase objects in and out of existence, or the ability to control weather, the ability to steal time from other people and use that time to gain speed and eventually be able to go back in time, or the ability to imitate one of the heroes and set that hero up to look like a villain. In every episode, the heroes combat the villains and then figure out the one personal object that has to be destroyed to remove the villain's powers. Once these powers are removed, the Dark Moth gets freed, captured, and reformed into a white butterfly, where it goes free to be a white butterfly. So far, I haven't seen any of these villains return, and I haven't seen any continuity between episodes, or anything that indicate that characters are going through reforms and so forth. She does have a few interesting twists to her character. Like, she and Noir both have special moves that help them out greatly in major situations, but after being used, puts them on a countdown to their powers vanishing for the day and their secret identity being revealed. So there's actually something at stake every time those special powers get used. This is the perfect way for me to get into a series. Seeing a little clip of it and getting to appreciate the artwork and action and the stuff that the series brings to the table without having it be the overhyped, super popular #1 must-see show. Maybe it'll go someplace like Steven Universe has, or maybe it'll be more of a under-the-radar favorite like Strawberry Shortcake. Only time will tell, but I hope it gets a little more love and attention than it has. Let me know what you think in the comments section below. Thank you for watching, and good night.